What is up, y'all? Today we are talking about
Hey guys.
cemeteries. Don't ask me how this came up. Yes, I do know how it came up. Y'all suggested this.
What?
My take on cemeteries. I don't know where this video is going, but I always said like I just don't know how like people keep dying in the cemetery don't like grow. Like where we live, like and there's conspiracy theories, but we're not gonna dive into that in the beginning of this video.
That's for another day.
But for me, like as a child, like there's the same cemeteries in our town. And
Yeah.
I'm like, how do they keep burying people in the same
Cemetery.
That's-
And it doesn't get bigger.
it's the same thing. Like
Still the same footage as a kid.
yeah, it don't make no sense. So I don't know where this video is going, but we're about to find out.
Or
We're about to find out.
how are they able to put so many of the headstones?
Yeah, maybe this video will clarify it, but I don't know where this video is going, so we're gonna find out. If you knew, hit that subscribe and let's see where this cemetery video is headed.
I'm nervous. Maybe it's a different type of video.
The American Battle Monuments Commission exists to honor the service of American military personnel during the two wars. Traditionally, we maintain the venue, but now, as we look forward into the future, we see that we've got an added responsibility to tell the story of what happened to a new generation and to make that relevant to them. When we first created these sites, the focus was simply maintaining the venue for the Gold Star mothers. You really didn't need to tell them the story. They'd lived through it. They'd had a very personal connection with it. So our focus was maintaining the cemetery for them to come and grieve. Now, 75 years later, those ladies are long gone. And most of the people alive today have no memory of the war and have no interaction with anyone who does.
Oh, so we're in a different category. We're talking about a U.S. cemetery over there. That's basically what it is.
That's so crazy what he just said.
Well, that's true.
Half of those people they're not alive anymore, and most of the people in the world don't even know, sadly, that for all we know can be kin to the people that are in.
Well, that's to today's society. I mean, how many people?
But I've never literally thought about that.
What I was gonna say is, think about it right now. Our grandparents are buried. How often do most people even go out and look at their grandparents? Like it's
no. I'm saying they don't know.
But that's people, and that's what I'm saying. It's people who do know and still don't go. Like there's people buried in family that they just buried there, and people don't go visit them.
Imagine how many graves have not been visited since
years.
That time.
Another take I was gonna take on this too is that there was a person who was talking. I came across this video online and it sounded harsh when it first started because I'm like, dang, that's harsh. But this person said, I'm not going to funerals or anything no more. And at first I was like, dang, that must have a bitter spirit. Like they probably just hate their family. And they was like, no. They was like, why am I gonna go? They was like, if you really think about it, like why am I gonna go look at a body of somebody who's lifeless and then get buried in the ground? They said that's depressing. They was like, why not just let them die and just be done with it? Like remember them like how they were, not go. And I was like, I never really thought of it like that because it is depressing. Like especially when you're buried, you're gonna go visit somebody in a coffin that looks lifeless, which they are. And then
I think you meant to visit them at the cemetery.
No, and then you go watch them be buried in some dirt, and it's a depressing day. But then it's like preached like, oh, joy in this moment and this and that. Like
I can't be joyful, Lisa.
And it was a young person, and somebody was like, oh, you. But I was like, I had to take my mind out of it before judging so fast and just be like, you know what, that is kind of true. Like I'm not mad at your opinion on that. I had to really think about it. I'm not mad at your opinion on that.
Also, I feel like a lot of people grieve differently. Where some feel like I need to see them before they go, or there's some that no, I can't see them. Like what you said, I want to remember them before they got sick, before they passed away in that
I feel like
state.
Me now hearing that point, I think going forward it should be closed casket, no matter what. They only do closed casket for if it's gruesome or
stuff, yeah.
I think going forward it should be a closed casket situation. Like put a picture,
that's what
put a nice
that's
picture.
That's why they have the good pictures. Like they'll usually have a big nice picture of them or of the family.
I think that's the way it should be.
And I think that's so cool.
I think that's the way it should be.
Because then, for me personally, it's just seeing them like that just kind of brings you to sorrow so fast. And I don't know. They say oh, they just look asleep.
No.
That's not how he looks when he sleeps.
No.
That's not how he looks. I remember going in that room and he never looked like that. Yeah.
So our role becomes to tell the story in a manner that's relevant to them today. And the way the agency's chosen to do that is to use the vehicle of the powerful biographies we have to make that human connection between a new audience of young people and the stories of courage and sacrifice that this cemetery has so many of.
It looks like a museum.
As early as the spring of 1942, we had the Army Air Corps arriving in this area in great numbers, and we had operations rather early in 42 into Europe. We had casualties, and we obviously needed somewhere to bury our dead. Cambridge University gave us the 30-acre parcel of land here in the centre of Cambridge, and on the 7th of December 1943, which was a date chosen 2 years to the day after the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, we buried for the first time here, and then we buried throughout the war. At the end of the war, this site was chosen as the permanent cemetery in the UK to house all those whose bodies were remaining from the conflict in the Second World War.
I noticed that he says cemetery and we say cemetery. Like, that's crazy how, like, they pronounce it differently than us. Like, oh, hold on, what?
And also, I must say, theirs is well kept. Like, I'm not saying ours isn't, but this is like not, one of our cemeteries do look like this though. Like one of ours here in town, like they do take very good care of it. But some of them are like, you're just like, oh, you need a little work, buddy.
To see what these men
they even got, like, the statues
were thrown into at such a young age is humbling, and seeing how they responded to that. Some of the more powerful experiences for me have been hearing the stories of these young men who were thrown into absolutely appalling situations and responded with courage that really was humbling to him.
I was gonna say that earlier. I had lost my thought earlier, but I was gonna say that is true. Like back then, no, my mic's good. Sorry, y'all. Probably was loud. Back then, like they were thrown out, like drafted. So when I remember at the beginning of the video, he said these families like stopped coming. Like I think back then they didn't have of course they didn't have the communication we got, like internet and all this stuff. So like it was like word of mouth. So maybe some of those families didn't even get the word that they lost somebody. Like they went to war, never just came back. People were migrating, doing stuff. Like,
oh my gosh, that is.
So it could be like that too, where they just didn't even know. Like they just didn't come home. Like, okay, maybe he did. So I think about those times too. I mean, it was 1940s. I think you said
1941 and 19.
So probably better communication then. Wasn't that old, but still, it's not how today you can just find out. So that I can see that too. But
look at the detail in the statues. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Hear about. One of the more powerful experiences I've had here in the last few months was a visit of a 95-year-old veteran who came back with his daughter on perhaps a last visit to Madingley. And his daughter gave this to him as his 95th birthday present. And he came here and he explained that the last time he'd come to Madingley was to bring a crew to be buried. And he told me the powerful story of his connection to that crew. Now this man had been a gunner, a teenage gunner, who'd been injured on a previous flight, so he was off air status. So he was not on flying duty. And while he was off flying duty, the Army Air Corps gave him driver assignments. And on one particular day, his job was to pick up a B-17 crew, take him to eat. They ate breakfast. They wanted to stop by the chapel on the way to the aircraft. And he said when they arrived at the aircraft, they all huddled. They put their arms around each other and they took a moment of silence together. And he said that was a powerful moment. And then they went off on their flight. I think it was a mission into a target into Germany. And they were damaged on the flight. They received some flak damage, and on landing they crashed. And although they arrived back at the airfield, they crashed and they were all killed. And his last duty of that particular day was to pick the bodies up, bag them up, and drive them to Madingley American Cemetery. And that was the last time he was here.
Oh my God.
He came with his notebook with these 10 names that he jotted down 75 years ago and came back to visit those men. And 9 of them had been repatriated, but the 10th was still here. And it was a powerful moment to be standing with him over the grave of that one remaining soldier and have him tell me the story of his personal connection. And it's experiences like that, for me, that are the most powerful as superintendent here. In particular, in the UK, our role is to reinforce and advance what Churchill referred to as a special relationship between the British and the Americans. And certainly, nothing speaks more powerfully of that special relationship than does the 10,000 souls that are commemorated here in Manningley.
The fact that he took them to breakfast and they huddled, it's like they kind of knew they weren't coming back. That, like, to take them to breakfast, drop them off for a job, just to come right back and take them to get married. Like, that is like, oh my God,
I think it was
to live with that.
So crazy back then. Like, I've spoken on a video before. I never got to meet my grandpa, but he fought in World War II. And it's so crazy to think back then, like, men were, like, drafted. Like, my dad told me, like, hey, my grandpa was drafted. And like, he said he remembered that, like, as a kid, like, the man kind of, like, knocked on your door. Like, just basically telling you, like, you going to war. Like, you have no choice, or you can go to jail. You know, that was the option. Like, go to jail.
Like Mulan.
And my grandpa didn't die in the war. He actually came back, but like, he died immediately, like, almost after. But it's so crazy because, like, you look at these men, and then you look at the country today, and, like, you got men that say, oh, I fought for you, I served for the country, and I feel like that is so powerful. Like, imagine the men who were drafted in those times, and I'm not speaking against anybody who just volunteered to go to the military, nothing against them, but I'm saying the men that were drafted that are still alive today.
Had no choice.
Yeah, they had no choice. I could just only imagine what goes through their heads. No, when they step outside and, like, I fought for this world, and the way this world is.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I went over there and put my life on the line without a choice, and y'all don't appreciate the freedoms and what y'all have. Like, it's like, that's, like, so disrespectful. Like, when I see a vet out with a hat on, I just immediately think, like, dang. Like, first of all, like you said, what they went through. Secondly, like, looking at this world now, like,
yeah,
I
think for me, it's just, like, for them to see how the world has changed so much.
Yeah.
Like, even our grandparents and great-grandparents, like, can you imagine, like, how they used to live, and from it to now, it's just, like they're probably looking like...
You watch Americans fighting among Americans, like, it's just a hot mess. And I'm pretty sure they'd be looking like I got chose for this, like, I fought for this. Yeah,
I will say, for me, like, I would love, and I don't know why, but I would love to sit with older people and just hear their stories. Like, I would love to do that.
The sad part is, like, some don't like to talk about it. Like, my grandma, she lived through certain times, I won't say, but, like, she won't even, like, she barely tells me, like, stories. Like, she'll talk about a little bit, like, growing up and, like, the farm and on certain things, but she won't go in, like, full detail of her, like, past, because she's, like, I don't know if it's just too much trauma or what it is, but she got stories. But there's a part 2 to this video, and we're about to dive right into that.
On the battlefields of World War II, from the North Atlantic to the skies of Europe, to the shores of Normandy and beyond, a generation came face to face with history. Their courage, their competence and sacrifice, their friendships forged and reforged in combat, all would turn the tide of battle. Those who traveled far, those who laid down their lives for freedom, those who fought to change the future of Europe and the world. We honor all of them here at the Cambridge American Cemetery. December 1941. The United Kingdom has been fighting a desperate battle for 2 long years. German U-boats, often in the infamous wolf packs, are devastating key Atlantic supply lines.
The Nazis say their own U-boat sank the 22,000-ton vessel and credited the attack to 2 submarines under command of Lieutenants Reschke and Guggenberger.
Shipping losses are reaching dangerous levels, with the Nazis managing to sink Allied vessels on a daily basis. Over 1 million tons of ships, fuel, and equipment have gone down. For the Allies, it's a make-or-break challenge. If they lose this vital lifeline, they could lose the entire war. Over the next 4 years, British, American, and other Allied forces will fight together to win the Battle of the Atlantic. Their overarching goal? To keep the Allied war effort alive with a steady stream of these much-needed resources. During this epic struggle, more than 3,000 Allied vessels will be sunk. After a collision in the icy waters of the North Atlantic, Chief Radio Officer Murray Blum dives into the wreckage-filled sea to rescue 2 men.
Like, when you think of that, he said 3,000, like, vessels. Like, you don't even know the number. Well, you don't get the number, but the number of casualties on that actual ship.
I was literally thinking that.
Like, America has, and I'm saying America, like, America's got a lot of bloodshed on their land. Like, a lot. And I know this war is, like, you know, UK involved with America and they're fighting the Nazis. But I'm talking about, like, American soil. Like, the wars, the different tribes and ethnicities fighting over land here. Like, there's so much bloodshed on American soil just for, like, supposedly peace. And it's sad to hear. Like, it's always fighting for territory of something. Like, if it's fighting outside people or fighting amongst us in the like, just getting territory. Like, it's crazy.
Can you imagine how many bodies are in the ocean?
Who knows what's going to do?
I'm just saying, like, all these boats went down. Can you imagine how many bodies and people?
I wouldn't doubt it. There's people not accounted for. Because back then, they had dog tags and stuff. You can't get no dog tags off people that's getting blown up and thrown in.
Oh, my gosh.
He dies looking for others to save. The struggle reaches a critical point in the spring of 1943. After months of tragic losses, Allied forces start to drive out the U-boats and regain control of the seas, safeguarding the vital convoys upon which the Allies depend. Even as battles at sea continue, the focus of the Allied war effort begins to shift. July 1942. American bombers join the battle for the skies, and an air offensive escalates over Europe. Relentless waves of heavy bombers pound German military and industrial targets.
With thousands of bombers and fighters were attacking the Germans by day and by night. This sledgehammer blow smashed German resistance.
In time, the impact will be devastating to Germany's cities and its air force. But Allied crews suffer heavy losses too, flying dangerous missions over Nazi-occupied Europe.
Watch him, Scotty. I got my sights on him. Check FB-17.
Can you imagine, like, the person that's talking in this video, or in the, I'm so sorry, I can't think of it, in the mic, like, radio, whatever. I don't know what it's called. But can you imagine them, and then, like, you being related, and, like, that's all you have to remember them is by them speaking in this video? Like, to be able to say, like, hey, we have him talking in 1942. Like, that is so cool. Like, that's, I mean, because a lot of people don't have nothing, and you have his voice, like, you can be able to hear his voice.
Very true.
Chuck, 3 o'clock. Fire 10 coming around. 30 upper Lord.
En route to bomb crucial factories in Schweinfurt, Germany, Staff Sergeant Winston Toomey is mortally wounded when his B-17 encounters devastating anti-aircraft fire. Refusing to leave his post, he released his bombs, closed the bomb doors, and slumped over, dead, surviving just long enough to complete his mission. Allied bombers fly around the clock. The British batter German cities by night. The Americans strike high-value targets by day. Air supremacy is a linchpin on which the war turns. If the Allies win the skies over Europe, they can hope to succeed in the amphibious invasion that will be D-Day, taking the battle into Germany. December 1943. More than 1.5 million American soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines are pouring into the British Isles in preparation for the largest amphibious assault in history. New friendships emerge as different cultures are thrust together in the great undertaking. A team is built through months of preparation. Training is grueling, and at times, lethal. Private Jacob Bowl is part of an engineering special brigade training in Exercise Tiger, a dress rehearsal for the coming invasion.
You know they always tell like history. I just immediately thought it was gonna say like, so these guys came together, right? They were drafted, and then they came together. They created their own bond and during the war. Also, I wonder when they say like family trees cut off, like, and I'm speaking for like the African American race. Like they always say like, oh yeah, family trees are cut off because of slavery, this and that. Imagine because African Americans were frontline in a lot of this because of those times. Imagine that's what a lot of African American ties were cut off because they just died in the war, and you don't know what went back. Like my little brother did an ancestry with us, and the furthest we go back on my dad's side is my grandpa, and he fought in the war. There's nothing past that. Like we have no information past him, so it just makes you think like a lot of families probably were cut off like their family tree because of
like you said, or
wars.
they didn't get accounted for, so they might not even say like, "Oh, you guys existed." Well, hold on, we're here, so that can mean the same thing.
Entering in the English Channel in the dead of night, his convoy is spotted by German attack boats and torpedoed. Bowl and over 700 others will go down. But all these efforts led to one day, one moment, when the Allies embarked on the liberation of France.
Soldiers, sailors, and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force, you are about to embark upon the Great Crusade.
That day is June 6th, 1944, when the Normandy landings begin.
And armies of men are in motion fighting the greatest military amphibious undertaking in history.
In the following months, across the hedgerows and the rolling terrain of France, the tide of battle will turn. As casualties continue to mount, thousands of wounded are evacuated to Great Britain to recover from the tolls of battle. For each of the men and women who battled so bravely, this is their monument, a reminder of their heroism and their lives, and a legacy that is all around us, in the freedom we enjoy each day. It stands here at the Cambridge American Cemetery to acknowledge those who fell, to honor their sacrifice, to remember who they were and what they did when the world hung in the balance.
So a lot of this. It's I've always like history has always been like a big thing of mine, and I like this side of it, like not saying it like that, but like sadly, But this side of history just gives you more because it points out the individuals and you get to see them like remembered for what they did. Like war movies and stuff like this always like this. Like even when they do war movies and like show you like the realness of it.
He watches stuff like that all the time. I can't watch it. I can't.
It's just seeing like these men. Like I said, it gets to me because like I said, when I was like at that age where like draft, you start thinking like, man, I could have been that. And where my headspace was at that age, like, man, I couldn't imagine being this. Because like America always think when you turn 18, you become this adult. Like a switch hits supposedly at your 18th birthday and says you're a man or a woman now, and you should know everything in life.
So get thrown to the wolves. Boop, there you go.
And I think to myself, like when these young men, like 17, I think they were even younger than that. I think you can go at 15 if I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think 15 you could be drafted back then. You know, just think of this young mindset of like you go watch a 15-year-old walk down the street, like damn, you could have been one of those kids that got drafted in the war.
Or also some weren't as mature as others at that age, so that kind of takes.
And I don't think your mind is even ready for war, regardless of what age you're at. Like, and just to know, like as a young man, have to go to this war to fight. The fear, you know, forget being a strong man. The fear of just knowing, like, I can not come back home. Like, I can die right now. It's survival, really. And at that age, oh my gosh. And even if you did survive and come back, just the mental capacity you would have to survive on this earth after being through all that, seeing man get blown up, seeing just crazy stuff, like, I couldn't imagine. But
the trauma.
This is crazy.
PTSD, everything, and I'm pretty sure that back then they thought you were crazy, but it was just pretty.
Well, a lot of them got on drugs when they came back. That's why a lot of them are on the streets because they couldn't cope with what their mind saw, so they went straight to drugs to try to ease their mind from even seeing anything or remembering anything. But it's a crazy thing, man. And I'm glad, like I said, it's great that these men still get honored years later, like. Because you can forget easy. Like I said, like our grandparents, you know, passed, and you can forget sadly about them, and that's not even that far back. So imagine you start going back to those 1940s. These men could be forgotten very fast because time and generations have gone by, and if the generation doesn't pass it down, they're gonna not forget about them.
But imagine like you being the first man in the family, and you never were able to have a wife, a girlfriend. Nothing. Like you never got to experience life, never had a kid or nothing, and then it's like. You're wiped out. Your whole bloodline is wiped out just like that.
Yeah,
like that's
crazy.
Sad.
All behind the war, but sad story. Let us know if you have any stories in the comments. Let us know what you guys thought about this one. Thank y'all for tuning in with us once again. I always appreciate y'all taking time out of your day to watch us. It means a lot. See y'all in the next one.